Philadelphia Eagles top 5 graded players in this one. Offensive tackle Jordan Mailata at the very top of the list with a 94.5. Linebacker Zach Bond, 83.4. Cornerback Cooper DeJean with a 78.6. Wide receiver A.J. Brown, 76.6. And then offensive guard Landon Dickerson, a 74.5. Jalen Hurts in this one, a 63.4. On Baltimore side of things, offensive tackle Roger Rosengarten with a 79.6. Cornerback Marlon Humphrey, a 74.9. Tight end Mark Andrews with a 72.1. Offensive tackle Ronnie Stanley with a 71.1. And then defensive tackle Travis Jones, a 70.1. Lamar Jackson, 70.6. Stout told the story. What do we got?
All right, this was my favorite one of the week to do.
All right,
you ready? Vic Fangio did it again.
Okay.
So coming into this game, let me go on first down for the Ravens. Okay. Second in the league in yards per play on first down, I believe, behind Detroit. Third in EPA per play. And on designed carries coming into this game on first down, 6 yards a carry. All right. In this game, 4.6 yards per design carry on first down. Now, that's still pretty good, but it's not the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens run you over, right? They run the ball on first down, then they get the layers of their offense going. Vic Fangio just said, no. Okay. Remember, was it week 3? Let's go back to week 3. Eagles Saints. You remember what I said about that game with Vic Fangio and Saints?
No.
I know, it's a long time ago. Extra defensive lineman.
Oh, yeah, okay. I remember
this?
You talking
when
about
it was
this.
with the Saints. Now, in the case of the Saints, it was, listen, Clint Kubiak, you're not running outside zone. You're not going to do it. You're going to beat us any other way than outside zone and deep shots. Okay, cool. The Eagles generally don't run a lot of 5+ defensive line, a lot of 5-man fronts on their defensive line. Coming into this game, they were doing it 11 times a game. All right, so 77 plays they had done this year. 27 of them were again in that Saints game. So in any other game, 5 times a game, that's all they do. In this game, 16 times they had 5 defensive linemen on the field. 11 of them on first down, and the ones that weren't were obvious run situations for the Ravens. 2nd and 3, 2nd and 4. There was a 4th and 1 mixed in there. 9 design carries for the Ravens when the Eagles had 5 defensive linemen out there, 26 yards. Vic Fangio on first down said, especially in the first half of this game, said, you're going to throw on first down whether you like it or not, because we don't think your weapons can beat our secondary, because we have DeJean and Mitchell and Slay and Gardner-Johnson and Blankenship. We think we have the best secondary in football. So you can throw it over these 5 defensive linemen, or you can run right into the teeth of it. But that's what we're going to do, and you're going to throw when we want you to throw. And that's what started happening. And what happened was it didn't – I'm not going to say it rattled Lamar, but I think it kind of rattled Todd Monken a little bit. And as they couldn't just punch through the wall, and as the Eagles' defensive line was winning, especially inside with Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, and Josh Sweat was good, and Nolan Smith was kind of the movable guy who's like the 5th defensive lineman by nature, but he's athletic, he can move around some, or he can come down on the edge. He was kind of that X-factor guy. He was almost the guy they had to read, was Nolan Smith, of shit, is he staying off the edge, or is he in the slot, or what are we doing here? While the linebackers go and clean it all up. So Vic Fangio, again, extra defensive linemen, make the Ravens do something that they don't want to do. And that's what happened. And eventually, as you got into the second half, even when this game was still 14-12, we're missing field goals and all that stuff, but 14-12, and you could feel it. The Ravens just stopped running the ball on first down. And even when the Eagles were getting back in 4-man fronts, it got shaky. They were just like, we can't do it. Maybe a time here and there, but they got out of their element on first down. And there was enough incompletions and even sacks and mistakes from Lamar. Just enough. You're not going to shut him down completely where it was, okay, he's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Just a little. Because it's pick your poison with the Ravens offense. Now, this was as shut down as you could possibly get against the Ravens. But it's about picking your poison. Because you know if Derrick Henry goes for $150 and Lamar goes for another 100. And Lamar, no yards on design carries in this game. 0. All his yards were on scrambles. So when you talk about Vic Fangio just saying, fine, if you beat me passing, fine. And we've seen this more. If you look at the numbers lately, Denver tried it, and Lamar beat him through the air. Okay, Pittsburgh did this, and they won the game. Eagles do it, they win the game. You spread this out, and you create one-on-one matchups up front with 5-man fronts, you might give the Ravens some problems. If Lamar beats you through the air with the receivers, which is not an elite receiving corps still, cool. But now I think teams are starting to sell out to go, okay, we can't let Derrick Henry beat us, and we can't let Lamar beat us on the ground.
Yeah, there's no guaranteed blueprint to beat elite quarterbacks. You kind of just have to play it a certain way and say, this is our bet this week. Will it pay off? And I think that you did a fantastic job just laying out the fact that it's like, okay, well, even when they play the Saints, right, they go, we can't cover everything. You guys have built the team well enough.
You're not gonna beat us the way
Lamar
that you want to beat us.
Dual threat enough. The wide receivers are good enough. Like, we can't cover everything, but we will take away what you want to do most, and we will challenge you to adjust. And if you do, probably gonna beat us. If you don't, that's at least a recipe where we will slow you down. We talk about that all the time, right? Oh, Lamar, you never shut him down. You just have to slow him down. That's how you slow him down. So I think that's a brilliant point by you. My stat that told the story sort of goes into my most disappointing because it sort of goes into a little bit with what you talked about. Ravens in the red zone, they were 1 for 4 in the red zone before that last-minute touchdown that really didn't change anything. So this was a team that once they got into the red zone, the Eagles really clamped down. Their defense really clamped down. They could not score in the red zone. They could not capitalize there. And then when you get to even the opportunities where they had to kick field goals, when they were in field goal range, Justin Tucker continues to be an Achilles heel of this team. And it sucks, and I think that everybody on Twitter is basically all saying the same thing. It's like, man, you hate doing this to a legend, future Hall of Famer. Sucks. But you got to have some hard conversations to make a tough decision here. Because right now, he missed from 47 and 53. He also missed an extra point. Doug Clawson, who covers the Ravens, tweeted this out. The Ravens have lost by a combined 22 points in their 5 losses. Justin Tucker has missed 22 points in just those 5 losses. Not even just like, throughout the season he's missed that many. He's missed that many points in the losses that they have had. Justin Tucker is 70% on his field goals this season, which is 30th in the NFL. And I believe I brought it up on this show. It might have been the preview show, but I'll say it again. Gordon McGinnis, who's our content director, he's also a Ravens fan. He watches every single Ravens game. He pointed this out to us. He thinks that Tucker's leg doesn't have the strength that it used to, so he thinks that Tucker is swinging his leg sort of a little bit harder, getting more of his body into it, and you will see when Tucker misses a lot, he is pulling it. He is pulling the football. It doesn't often miss, going off the side of the foot, or something like that. As a righty, he's often pulling it, and it's missing on that side towards the line of scrimmage. That is how we saw him miss the extra point and one of those field goals. And then the other one, I think he was just trying to overcompensate, and he blasted it outside of the uprights on the other direction. So he's all over the place right now. I saw somebody say like on Twitter that it's like, oh well, I don't think it's a leg strength thing. I absolutely think it's a leg strength thing. It's not just a mental thing, but now it's obviously turning into a mental thing when you miss this many kicks throughout the season because Justin Tucker hasn't done that. So stat that told the story to me is Ravens didn't capitalize in the red zone, and once again this season, the kicking game became their Achilles heel of why they were not able to stay as close as they needed to.
It's entirely plausible that it may have already cost them a division title.
Yeah.
That's where we're at, and it could cost them what they thought was going to be a potential Super Bowl run.
Well, a Super Bowl season, right?
Yeah,
right.
I mean, it's a problem, and they're in a tough spot because any other team, they go, okay, get this guy out of here, we're done. It's Justin Tucker, though, right? And I think he still has the big contract, at least for a kicker, and he's still Justin Tucker, and he may make the Hall of Fame one day. It's a tough spot for John Harbaugh to be in, I think, with a guy like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I thought about this during the game. I don't know if he would ever do this, and I don't know how the numbers really work out. But like, you're in a situation where I don't think the Ravens would ever cut Justin Tucker. Like, if anything, they'll keep 2 kickers. Like, they're not going to cut him in the middle of the season.
Can you practice squad a guy with a contract like that?
I don't think.
Or does that expose him to the rest of the league? That's probably what it does.
Well, it would expose him to the rest of the league because you can pick a guy off the practice squad, but. I don't think the Ravens would ever cut Justin Tucker in the middle of this season. I wonder if Justin Tucker is close to retiring at all. I wonder if he retires.
In season?
Like, I wonder if I wonder if he has another bad week, right? Really bad week where he's the difference between the team winning and losing. I wonder if he goes, okay, if I really care about the Baltimore Ravens thing, I have to know that I'm not the best option for them. And I wonder if he would retire in the middle of the season because he knows that they would never cut him. But I also don't know if these guys at the NFL level, they're such fierce competitors. I don't know if that would ever cross their mind. So maybe not, especially a guy who has as much confidence as we have seen Justin Tucker have. That crossed my mind yesterday of everybody's like, oh, you got to make the tough decision. You got to cut Justin Tucker. They're not going to cut Justin Tucker. They're not going to do it.
I have a thought.
He's meant too much to that franchise.
Maybe. This is a weird thought.
Go ahead.
What if you took him off kickoffs? Would you think would that do something? What if he was just, because there's some teams that their kicker is just their field goal kicker, and then they have the punter as somebody else kick off, right?
So you're saying you would just have him?
Yeah. What if he just did that?
Kick off?
No, just field goal.
No, Dalton, field goal is the problem.
No, I know. But what if it's like?
What has it solve anything?
What if it's something like, okay, that's all we'll focus on, and we'll just and you mentioned the leg strength thing. Seriously. What if he's just older and he's just a guy who just kicks field goals? Because even at the end, think about Vinatieri with the Colts.
I don't think that helps us.
Maybe not. Try something.
I would think that you kicking off warms up the leg.
Anything. Stand off.
Because at that one, you don't have to be pinpoint accurate. You're just blasting the ball down the field.
Kicker psychology is weird, and it's certainly a lot different than mine. Maybe just stand off to the side and kick off.
Field goals are the issue for him.
Well, right. Just have him do that then.
He's already doing that in practice.
So? Practice ain't the games. Just an idea. I'm coming up with any idea. You know how
you're trying. You're trying.
You know how.
Look, I appreciate.
You know how kicker psychology
Ravens fans appreciate you for trying.
Sure.
I'm over here talking about him retiring mid-season in December, so maybe my idea is crazier than yours is, but.
Well, maybe we're both right. You just retire from kickoffs.
It's hard for me to think that the Ravens can win a Super Bowl with Justin Tucker as their kicker. It's really weird for me to say that out loud, but at this point in time, assuming they're not going to get the 1 seed, okay, they're going to have to win 4 games in a row against the best competition that they have faced yet this season in order to win a Super Bowl. You're telling me that you've got faith in Justin Tucker for 4 big games in a row where field goals are paramount, that he's not going to have this come up again? I don't know, man.
Try something. Try anything. They're not going to do it.
What if you had him punt and do kickoffs and do field goals?
He'd be in shape, that's for sure. That's going back to college.
What if you'd have him play running back?
They got a pretty good.
You know how some guys say, hey, you just got to get popped one time and then you feel great?
Well, he's just got
first carry, don't give it to Derrick Henry. Just give it to him right up the middle. Just have Justin Tucker just get popped one time, and then he'll just feel alive.
There are quarterbacks who say that's a thing. I think even hasn't Josh Allen said that before? Where he's like, I want to take that first hit.
I got to get hit. Maybe Justin Tucker's just got to get popped one time at the beginning of the game.
Maybe it's just weird. That's it.
Did we miss it? Jordan Mailata is my most impressive. 94.5 overall blocking grade, 95.6 run blocking grade. Just an unbelievable mauler in this game. 31.3 impact run blocking percentage. That means, folks, that 1 out of every 3 play that Jordan Mailata had in this game, he was earning a positive run blocking grade. What? That's nuts. 0 sacks and 1 pressure allowed as well as a pass blocker. This dude was dominant.
Yeah, the league leaders, for the season, usually sit around 24, 25 there. If you're at or above 30, you're doing some sicko work in the run game, that's for sure. And you talk about guys who might be the best left tackle in the league. We've talked about him several times recently now since he's been healthy. He's just an animal. I'll stay on the Eagles side. This is another thing we've talked about before, but I mentioned all the stuff about 5 D linemen and all the fancy stuff and everything going on. None of that matters if your linebackers aren't up to snuff. And I'll tell you what, Zach Bond and Nakobe Dean, what a story these 2 guys are. To clean up all of that behind that defensive line, 84.4 run defense grade for Bond, 85 for Nakobe Dean, 6 run stops. And when you're playing Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, the big thing is tackling. They only missed 2 tackles together in run defense all night. A spectacular game. This Eagles defense has 3 layers to it.
Studs.
You got great players up front. Carter, Davis, Sweat, right? Linebacker with these 2, the secondary we talked about. This is by far the team the Lions should be most afraid of in the NFC. I don't even think it's close, especially with this defense. And then most disappointing right on the other side of that, the Ravens inside, we've been talking about their offensive line a lot this year, a lot better since Patrick McCarry moved to guard, but McCarry and Daniel Faalele really struggled at guard in this game, combined for a 38.2 overall grade. McCarry gave up 9 pressures. It was part of the difficulty of that 5-man front also is you take away a lot of double teams. You have a lot of one-on-one blocks. Even in the passing game, if they're going to drop back and pass against it, a lot of one-on-one blocks. The Ravens on the offensive line didn't get it done. The Eagles really out-physicaled them on both sides of the ball.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe the video. And if you don't have a PFF Plus subscription, you can get one to see all the premium stats that we talked about here on the show, plus the expert betting and fantasy advice over at subscribe.pff.com. The description is also right below, so if you are not a PFF Plus subscriber, you can come one today.